So this is a very, very interesting story today. The Ukrainians, they have been through some difficult situations. I'm sure you've seen that. A lot of them were relocated to Europe as refugees. Obviously, as the war continues in Ukraine, many Ukrainian men and women have gone to Europe to try to find refuge. So I don't know if you remember, the UK government offered money to every UK family that was willing to host a Ukrainian family. Do you remember that? I think it was about £350 per week, I think. I'm not 100% sure about that. But they did offer every person willing to host a Ukrainian family some money to kind of just carry on living a normal life while hosting somebody. I think that was very generous from the UK government. Very, very humane, very appreciative. So now the situation today is that Ukrainians that have moved to the UK, living in the UK for a while since the beginning of the war last year, today are complaining in the UK. They are complaining, saying there are too many black people around the neighborhood. No, we're not happy. There are too many Muslims in the neighborhood. Isn't that interesting? Very interesting, isn't it?
We were quite shocked at how difficult she found different cultures.
She felt there were just too many Muslims.
Too many Muslims, too many people with different skin colours.
Her guest's son was enrolled into the local school, where the majority of children happened to be black and Asian.
And then to just have her complain about the demographic of the school and going, well, he can't be safe there. There's not enough white kids, essentially. The majority of my neighbours are Muslims. A lot of them are Kashmiris or Pakistanis, Indians, and they're wonderful people. And you just felt if you just would sort of give them the time, perhaps we'd come to the same conclusion.
They both agreed to end the placement.
So basically, they ran away from war. They've been hosted by UK families and people willing to host them and have them staying by them. But all of a sudden, now they're saying, we're not very happy because there are way too many black people around. And there are way too many mosques and Muslim people. We don't like that. Isn't that? How do you feel about that? So you have run away from home due to difficulties, which we feel sorry for you about that. Same as we feel sorry for many other nations, some African nations that have gone through culprits and difficult wars and rebellions. We feel sorry for you for that. You got the chance, the opportunity to go to the UK and have a good life, a much better life, a sustainable situation, living in families that get money, from the government to host you. Now, all of a sudden, now you're not very happy because there are black people around you and Muslims. But this is not your home, just remembering. Let me just remind you guys, the UK announces a controversial plan to fly migrants and asylum seekers to Rwanda. So all asylum seekers, African that coming to the UK, the United Kingdom decided to fly them back to Rwanda. Unlike Ukrainians, Britain will send migrants and asylum seekers who cross the channel thousands of miles away to Rwanda under a controversial deal announced Thursday as the government tries to clamp down on a record number of people making the perilous journey. So a while back, when Africans ran away from wars in Africa and rebellions and many other difficulties, the United Kingdom decided to send them back to Rwanda. Right? That I'm not creating that. This is the internet. On the 14th of April, 2021, they said, from today, anyone entering the UK illegally, as well as those who have arrived illegally since January 1st, may now be relocated to Rwanda. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said in a speech near Dover, southeastern England. Obviously, different treatment for different people. And I'm not arguing. I'm happy for the Ukrainians, being hosted into British families. But that was the case for Africans. So now, the Ukrainians have had the opportunity that many Africans have been wishing for, many African migrants, living in the UK after a while, eating some English breakfast, some beans, some bacon and whatever, lots of tea, I guess. Now I'm not very happy with the situation because there are way too many black people around them and way too many Muslims. So that's not like Ukraine. Thank you for hosting us, but you have too many black people here. We see you have too many mosques and Muslims, and this is not very comfortable for us. Can we say that Europe gave Ukraine a much better treatment than they gave to Africans and Syrians and other nations? Can we say that? Would it be unfair to say that? I mean, look at this. Germany hosted about 1 million Ukrainians. Chechnya, over 400,000 Ukrainians. Italy, 169,000 Ukrainians. Spain, 161,000 Ukrainians. The UK hosts 158,000 Ukrainians, which is good for them. I'm very happy for them. I'm just saying they were welcome. But how was the treatment of African people in Ukraine during the war?
They even told us, we are going to give you guns and you're going to fight for Ukraine. I said, hi. we gonna fight for Ukraine? We are not Ukrainian.
I mean, we've seen some of the videos, some of the most shocking videos. Africans are complaining. Some of them were blocked from entering the train because, as per the host, as per Ukrainians, they needed first to let go children and women. And in the same time, the person that was asking to be let into the train was actually an African woman, a Nigerian doctor. She begged to be let in. They say, no, kids and women first. But I'm a woman. No, not that kind of woman.
I even lied that I was pregnant. They didn't care. I was begging. The official literally looked me in my eye and said in his language, only Ukrainians, that's all. That if you are black, you should walk.
If we went on social media, everybody was talking about how Africans were being treated in Ukraine as they fled this conflict.
Man, these people left without taking the blacks, man. None of the blacks, man. See.
These are the black community. We are not allowing any black people to enter inside the gates. We are all here. It's only Ukrainians that they are allowing in. Even the ones with kids, they're not allowing them.
The New York Times said Africans who have been living in Ukraine say they were stuck for days in crossing into neighboring European countries, huddling in a cold without food, shelter, held up by Ukrainian authority who pushed them to the end of the long lines and even beat them while letting Ukrainians through. Sheni Mbavu, a 24-year-old doctor from Nigeria who lived in this western Ukrainian town, said she has spent more than 2 days stranded in Poland-Ukraine border crossing the town of Mwekassa as guard lets Ukrainians cross but blocked foreigners. The Ukrainian border guards were not letting us through, she said in a phone interview, her voice trembling. They were beating people up with sticks and tearing off their jackets, she added. They would slap them and push them to the end of the queue. It was awful. Mbavgu, the Nigerian doctor, managed to reach Warsaw, but says she crossed the border only by struggling and pushing her way through. They would say only women and children can pass through, she said. But they were letting some Ukrainian men through, and whenever a black lady would try to pass, they would say, our women first. Can we say that this was meticulously done? It was, they were obviously choosing faces and colors and stuff. Can we say that? Well, this is not a secret anymore. As the Bulgarian Prime Minister said, these are not the refugees we are used to. These people are Europeans. These people are intelligent. They are educated people. This is the Prime Minister of Bulgaria saying you should give Ukrainians much better treatment because these are not the people we are used to. These are not the type of refugees we're used to. These are different kind of people, intelligent people. So that's what I'm saying. African people got a very strange treatment in Ukraine during the war.
When you get close, you're either pushed back or you're told to come back the next day.
As the world was pushing everybody to support Ukraine, you could not turn a blind eye into the fact that African people were mistreated in Ukraine during the war. It's very difficult.
Where I became to the worst area of the Birmingham, unfortunately.
Oksana moved here from Kyiv last summer. She admits that at first, living side by side with so many different cultures made her feel afraid.
I was very afraid because it was not usually for me, and and some people just told me about so many dangerous stories.
All I'm saying is you've been given an opportunity to live in the UK peaceably, in a very good way, earning some money. They open the doors for many people. I know many Africans who go to the UK have to wait for a long time before they're granted a permit or something similar to that, an authorization to work and live a normal life. But Ukrainians have gone to the UK and most other European countries and have been given a green light very easily. But now complaining, saying there are way too many black people here and way too many mosques and Muslim people. Do you think that's fair to say? Do you think that's good to say? I don't know. I mean, we know that, again, many Africans that were arrested as immigrants in the UK were sent to Rwanda, sent back home to Rwanda. They were not given an opportunity, at least not like Ukrainians, to stay in the UK and have a better life. I don't know, guys, you let me know. How do you feel about this? You've been given an opportunity to have a much better life in a different country, a country of peace, a country of progression. And suddenly you feel like, well, other people that came in the same country in a very similar situation as you do not deserve to be there.